when writing up cow-calf share and cash lease agreements, it's important to come up with an arrangement that's fair for everyone involved. Nebraska Extension Beef Systems Educator Berger explains why each lease agreement can and should be tailored to the specific business situation at hand.
This is a time of year when folks who are thinking about leasing cows or are in a lease agreement have a conversation around what's fair in terms of a lease agreement. So when we think about this, there's really two ways to approach this. The first is a cash lease agreement where the operator gets the cows for the year, usually provides the feed and labor, the equipment needed to care for those cows. They pay the owner of the cows a cash lease, just like you would lease something else. So a set dollar amount, the person who owns the cows gets that lease payment to them, and then that's their payment for the year. On a cow-calf share agreement, what we're looking at is what does each party contribute in terms of value to the production of weaned calves. So perhaps the person who owns the cows, that's what they contribute. They might contribute something else. Maybe they're providing some pasture. The person caring for the cows is providing their labor, equipment, maybe the veterinary expenses, other costs related to caring for those cows. We look at what each party contributes based on the total, and then based on what each party has contributed based on their share is the share of the calf crop that they would receive. And so we split out the calf crop then at weaning. If the owner might get anywhere from 20 to 40% of the calf crop, depending on what they contribute. Person caring for the cows might get anywhere from 40 to 80 or 60 to 80%. It really varies. The things with a cow-calf share lease agreement and also a cash lease is you need to revisit annually. Obviously costs are changing, value of cattle is changing. We need to understand what's happening with that, so when we're working together we have an agreement that's fair to both parties. Well, I think from a cow owner's perspective, they need to understand what's my capital investment in the cow herd, what's my cow herd worth, what's happening in terms of cow depreciation, meaning when I look at the value of the cow today versus what her value is going to be when she leaves the herd, what's happening there? And then also cost of replacing that cow. What is it going to take me to go buy a replacement to bring into the herd? And then also things like death loss, how much is occurring? Those are the big drivers from a cow owner's perspective. And then also interest rate, if they have any investment or what kind of return do they expect to get on that investment in their cow herd. So for the person caring for the cows, they really need to accurately think about what are all my costs involved here, my labor, my equipment, if I'm renting grass, buying feed, veterinary expenses. I need to make sure that as I think about this arrangement that my costs are being covered and that I'm adequately compensating my own labor. And so, understanding those things. Right now margins are tight in cow-calf operations, so really looking at all costs and being fair about that's important. I think when we get to the bottom line, there's some give and take, and the operator and the person who owns the cows need to visit about how do we work this through. We want it to be a long-term agreement, and so communication is really key to making this work. You really probably want to be in something that's a long-term agreement, and you don't want to be trying to change this every year. But when you come to revisit annually, it's just saying, how are things going? What's working well? What isn't working well? What can we tweak so that we're mutually agreeable on this is a fair arrangement? And I think as markets change, as feed resources change, as inputs change, there's a lot of value to having that conversation annually. I think also a lease needs to be in writing. You need to get those things down, make sure you've communicated clearly things like who's going to be the consulting veterinarian. If we need to bring this agreement to an end, how will that happen? What's the expected cow condition score at weaning? What's the expected pregnancy rate? Those are things that need to be discussed so that if there's something that goes wrong, we've had it in writing. How are we going to handle this to make sure that it's, again, workable for both parties?